The QUniverse team would like to wish you a happy Memorial Day 2018. Monday, May 28, 2018 marks the 150th observance of Memorial Day in the United States of America. While many consider the holiday weekend to be the, quote, unofficial, end quote, start of the summer, it is imperative that we look at the history and purpose of the celebration. Let's take a look at the early history of Memorial Day. 3 years after the Civil War ended, on May 5, 1868, the head of an organization of Union veterans, known as the Grand Army of the Republic, or GAR for short, established Decoration Day as a time for the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. Major General John A. Logan declared that Decoration Day should be observed on May 30th. It is believed that this date was chosen because flowers would be in bloom all over the country. The first large observance was held that year at Arlington National Cemetery, across the Potomac from Washington, D.C. The ceremony centered around the mourning-draped veranda of Arlington Mansion, once home of General Robert E. Lee. Various Washington officials, including General and Mrs. Ulysses S. Grant, presided over the ceremonies. After speeches, children from the Soldiers and Sailors Orphan Home and members of the GAR made their way through the cemetery, strewing flowers on both Union and Confederate graves, reciting prayers and singing hymns. There are many local observances that claim to be the first. Local springtime tributes to the Civil War dead already had been held in many places. One of the first occurred in Columbus, Mississippi on April 25, 1866, when a group of women visited a cemetery to decorate the graves of Confederate soldiers who had fallen in battle at Shiloh. Nearby, there were graves of Union soldiers that had been neglected because they were the enemy. Disturbed at the sight of bare graves, the women placed some of their flowers on those graves as well. Today, cities in the North and South claim to be the birthplace of Memorial Day in 1866. Both Macon and Columbus, Georgia claim that title, as well as Richmond, Virginia. The village of Boalsburg, Pennsylvania claims it had begun there 2 years earlier. A stone in Carbondale, Illinois cemetery carries a statement that the first Decoration Day ceremony took place there on April 29, 1866. Carbondale was the wartime home of General Logan. Approximately 25 places have been named in connection with the origin of Memorial Day, many of them in the South, where most of the war dead had been buried. Memorial Day expansions. The official birthplace was declared in 1966 when Congress and President Lyndon B. Johnson declared Waterloo, New York, the, quote, birthplace of Memorial Day. There, a ceremony on May 5, 1866 honored local veterans who had fought in the Civil War. Businesses closed and residents flew flags at half-staff. Supporters of Waterloo's claim say earlier observances in other places were either informal, not community-wide, or simply one-time events. By the end of the 19th century, Memorial Day ceremonies were being held on May 30th throughout the nation. State legislatures passed proclamations designating the day, and the Army and Navy adopted regulations for proper observance at their facilities. It was not until after World War I, however, that the day was expanded to honor those who have died in all American wars. In 1971, Memorial Day was declared a national holiday by an act of Congress, though it is still often called Decoration Day. It was then also placed on the last Monday in May, as were some other federal holidays. Memorial Day and the Confederacy. Some states have Confederate observances. Many southern states also have their own days for honoring the Confederate dead. Mississippi celebrates Confederate Memorial Day on the last Monday of April, Alabama on the fourth Monday of April, and Georgia on April 26th. North and South Carolina observe it on May 10th, Louisiana on June 3rd, and Tennessee calls that date Confederate Decoration Day. Texas celebrates Confederate Heroes Day on January 19th, and Virginia calls the last Monday in May Confederate Memorial Day. General Logan's order for his posts to decorate graves in 1868, quote, with the choicest flowers of springtime, end quote, urged the following, quote, we should guard their graves with sacred vigilance. Let pleasant paths invite the coming and going of reverent visitors and fond mourners. Let no neglect, no ravages of time testify to the present or coming generations that we have forgotten as a people the cost of a free and undivided republic. End quote. Original celebrations of Memorial Day. The crowd attending the first Memorial Day ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery was approximately the same size as those that attend today's observance, about 5,000 people. Then, as now, small American flags were placed on each grave, a tradition that followed many national cemeteries today. In recent years, the custom has grown in many families to decorate the graves of all departed loved ones. The origins of special services to honor those who die in war can be found in antiquity. The Athenian leader, Pericles, offered a tribute to the fallen heroes of the Peloponnesian War over 24 centuries ago that could be applied today to the 1.1 million Americans who have died in the nation's wars. Quote, "Not only are they commemorated by columns and inscriptions, but there dwells also an unwritten memorial of them, graven not on stone, but in the hearts of men." End quote. The Commission's charter is to, quote, "encourage the people of the United States to give something back to their country, which provides them so much freedom and opportunity," end quote, by encouraging and coordinating commemorations in the United States of Memorial Day and the National Moment of Remembrance. The National Moment of Remembrance encourages all Americans to pause wherever they are at 3 p.m. local time on Memorial Day for a minute of silence to remember and honor those who have died in the service to their nation. As Moment of Remembrance founder Carmela Laspada says, quote, "It's a way we can all help put the memorial back in Memorial Day." And the source of all of the history you have seen is located here on screen. It is from the va.gov website, and you can find more by clicking below. Memorial Day in QUniverse. Even with all of this historical data, it's easy to get caught up in the bustle of parades and picnics, vacations, and all of the other trappings. As I type this, I've got meat marinating and pasta salad in the works. The important part of the day is remembering those who serve, and especially those who have fallen during the course of their service. Many of us at QUniverse are or have known veterans. All Americans, regardless of faith, politics, or other beliefs, owe it to those who have fought to keep us free. Without them, there would be no First Amendment speech rights, including the right to create and share this video with you, among so many others that we take for granted on a daily basis. And finally, we come to Memorial Day and Red Cord. As the author of this piece, I wanted to make sure that I kept my opinion separate from everyone else's. And no matter what I may do tomorrow, whether it's host a picnic with loved ones, attend a parade, visit a local cemetery, I have opportunities to watch historical reenactments or pick up a war history book, and believe me, there are plenty in my personal library. I know at the end of the day, there are going to be two things in my heart. One, thank you to those who have served in any capacity to not only keep me safe, but also to ensure my rights. And two, God bless America. Hopefully you've learned something from this little Memorial Day tribute we've made. And if you have, please let us know what was most surprising in the comments. If you haven't, and please feel free to leave your honors and memorials in the comment section below. I'll add them to my list and keep a special place in my heart just for them. And remember, and keep in memorial, the purpose of Memorial Day.